Now, today marks 7 years since the flood and fire disaster in Accra, which left more than 150 persons dead and many others missing. Victims continue to face difficulties. That's notwithstanding, the head of settlement studies at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Professor Divine Ahaji, says another one could happen anytime soon. We hear from him shortly. First, though, what did the committee which investigated the disaster recommend to forestall recurrence? Elton Brobe has details in the following piece.
To prevent a future occurrence of the tragedy that hit the country on June 3rd, the Disaster Committee recommended the complete dredging of the door drain, a ban on the use of plastic as carrier bags, water dispensers, and cooked food containers. It also suggested standardized training, certification, and licensing of filling stations attendants, the creation of sanitation police, compulsory fitting of all commercial vehicles with refuse baskets or bins, and equipping of disaster managers with the requisite tools to effectively handle disasters.
Well, not much of that has been done, and Professor Divine Ahaji believes that another flood disaster can happen anytime soon.
Looking at what is happening currently, it's better we begin to focus our attention on how to prepare in case of emergency, on the terms of preparation, response, recovery, and mitigation, so that we should be able to focus on how, if such a situation happens, we're going to evacuate the people, where we are going to send them to, what will be community action and network, what contact numbers are available for people to call, if there's the need for communities to do rehearsal on how they are going to evacuate and where they are going to evacuate to. These are issues that I think we have normally not focused attention on. So my suggestion is that looking at what has happened in the recent weeks, we shouldn't wait and have a catastrophe before we begin to be thinking about what to do. And where is a probability, it may happen or it may not happen. But even if it doesn't happen, you have still used the occasion to do capacity building in terms of preparing the minds of the people that this is the nature of the flood situation in Ghana, and there's the likelihood that we can always have the June 3rd situation repeating. And so everybody should be on board so that we all begin to have a strong community engagement where we all put our mind to what we can do collectively to be able to avoid in terms of the risk and the impact in terms of mitigating.
This morning, Pressure Group One Ghana Movement has said that anybody who is found culpable in this disaster must be punished. According to the group, justice delayed for the victims is justice denied. Now, let's do these with, statement contained in a release that they brought out this morning. Now, it says, it was a rainy and windy night, just as had been the norm. The Goel filling station at Circle and many other filling stations across the country provided temporary shelter for commuters who are usually caught up by rains while in transit to or from work. The night of June 3, 2015 was not an exception, but an avoidable disaster struck when floodwaters, far and full, merged to cause a great inferno, which left at least 154 dead and more than 200 injured and 2,500 affected. For some, this may sound like a ritual recall of statistics, but it is not. These are real lives of fathers, mothers, wives, husbands, brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles, children, old and young, that were affected by that tragedy. As expected, authorities rushed to the scene the following day with the usual promises to bring perpetrators to book. 7 years on, no one has been held accountable for this avoidable disaster. The government of the day and the government today have all but paid lip service to the justice, accountability, and commensurate compensation for victims. The disaster of June 3, 2015 was not an act of God. they were the combined consequence of bad governance and corporate negligence on the part of politicians and public office holders who owed the people of Ghana a duty of care. Now, a convener of the group, Senor Hosi, has been addressing the media at Ground Zero, the scene of the disaster.
The government of the day and the government today have all but paid lip service to justice, accountability, and commensurate compensation for victims. The disaster of June 3, 2015 was not an act of God. They were the combined consequence of bad governance and corporate negligence on the part of politicians and public office holders who owed the people of Ghana and the victims here the duty of care. The One Ghana movement has since 2017 been pursuing justice for the victims and the people of Ghana. The movement and the victims through our lawyers, Samson Ladi Ayenini and Kelly Kwesi Delata, both working pro bono, commenced a class action suit in 2018, pursuing GOIL, the National Petroleum Authority, and Accra Metropolitan Assembly for their complicity in the disaster. It is our hope that the pursuit of justice will not only result in fair compensation for the victims and their families, but will in the end punish officials found culpable and drive the sense of accountability and responsibility on the part of citizens and corporate Ghana and public officials. Avoidable disasters will not stop when no one is punished for this negligence and dereliction of duty. On June 3, we said never again. And yet again, there was gas explosion, atomic explosion, Takrady explosion, and more. We certainly cannot continue this way as a country. We cannot go on this way at all as a country. 7 years on, we wish to remind government and the judiciary that justice delayed for the lives affected is justice denied, and a failing of their own duty of care to their own fellow citizenry. May God continue to keep and protect the affected persons and their family.
Now, I've also been speaking with some victims who are calling for the payment of their compensation. Broke out and it caused a lot of devastation. As you can see, all the scraps here are remnants of the cars that got burnt on that day. Today, 7 years on, we are here to interact with victims of the disaster.
Daddy na nsoto na me no my wife na nam ene me ba ne me bra je nipa fo nti yadru ase na eflade na me ka ne ka hase nti na ebe gina ase nti ya gina ona me wife say mindani me chi na me hwe na ejao mindani me nkwa na eja beto mi tiso me ho hwi biem nti me expect tim na 37 na 37 so me ko da on sa time no na me nim say my wife ne me brother me busa for o mewu ndi me dawa e be discharge me ansa na psychologist for ya mo ba me nche na me nim de okoso de na but yanka be see my wife no o mo admission reach na me so mo 37 ndi na me so me gidi sa da e be discharge me na chem so my wife me busa for o me film ndi nya easy na me di bibia e di ma nyame set de nyame na e ma nyame na agenti.
And on that day he was here with the wife, child and a brother. When all of a sudden the wife said fire, immediately he turned, there was fire on his head, and that's everything he recalls. By the time he realized he was at 37, so many operations, he's gone through 20 of such operations just to recover to be how he is today. He says that he lost a huge thing on the skull there. We are showing to you on the screen now. That's his skull as it is today. From that particular accident. It's quite a huge one. You need to have be brave enough to watch this. He says that whilst at the hospital, they didn't tell him that the wife, the child, and the brother have all died. It was after, when he was being discharged, when psychologists came to him and worked on him to understand what was happening. He says they only paid his medical bills, but he has not received anything like compensation. And because of lack of funds, he's not able to go for reviews.
I'm a father of a disease.
Okay.
That very fateful, that very sad one. I was at work and the rain started. It rained in the morning, and in the evening it started again. And my son is also going to work. So he was going to work that evening. He's going to work that very day. So I was there. It was raining heavily, and my wife too, and is in the market. So, in fact, I'm willing to come and see them because I know where they are. It's very, very distant. I couldn't come. The next morning, I had a call from my wife that the water has taken my son away. So my son, he didn't bend, but he was drowned. He's drowned. Yes, by the water.
Moving on to other stories. The Upper West Regional Minister and Chairman of the Regional Security Council, Hafiz bin Sali, has been providing details of a regional security meeting that ended some hours ago in relation to the flogging of the two lovebirds whose video leaked. We'll bring that story to you later on, but let's bring you more stories now as we prepare to bring you that particular one later on. This is still the Joy News today. Now, universities across Ghana have announced their detachment from the National Union, that's the Teachers and Educational Workers Union, TEWU, of the Trade Union Congress, TUC. The association, now formerly known as the Tertiary Education Workers Union of Ghana, TEWU-GH, says it has run out of patience with the lackadaisical and irresponsible attitude of the national leadership of TEWU, of TUC. Now, TEWU-GH is made up of membership from all 14 universities, and they say that from the past 14 years, their conditions of service have not been renewed after several negotiations. Love FM's Emmanuel Bright Kweku has more in this report.
Workers in various public universities across the country converged at the KNUST campus to officially outdoor the new association. Leadership of the new national umbrella says it was unhappy with how their erstwhile national executives of TEWU-TUC treated petitions brought before them. Members say they are bearing the brunt of the high cost of living as the leadership of TEWU-TUC has failed to negotiate for renewal of its conditions of service after expiration in 2008, among others. Suleimana Abdurrahman is the chairman of TEWU-GH.
Everyone you see behind me or with me here are the executive of all the public universities in Ghana. So this decision that we have taken, Legon executives are part, UCC executives are part, KNUST, UEW, UMAT, UHAS, UDS, and all the other universities, including Amstec and other very new universities. We want to state categorically that we are no longer under the umbrella of TEWU-TUC-GH, TEWU National. We want to hold the fort by ourselves so that when we negotiate with the government, part of what we have negotiated will not be taken away as they have done in our recent negotiations, which is, allowances that was negotiated for an MOU signed with Fairway Society Commission with government. By the end of the day, the National Union went behind us. These allowances was cut off.
The association said it is claiming all its assets and liabilities of TEWU of TUCGH in the respective public universities. Charles Arthur is the interim chairman for TEWU GHK and UST Local.
The new union takes asset and liability of the old union because we are in the local, we are dealing with the local matter. And let me take this opportunity to explain that the structure of TEWU is like this. We have the national officers, we have the regional officers, we have the district officers, then we have the local health officers. What we are talking about is the local health officers and not the entire TEWU, where there will be confusion. So this one, there's no ambiguity of what we have done. So if we have any asset here in KNUSC, it is ours. It is ours. When we have other assets in Accra, that belongs to the entire TEWU as a body, all of us. It belongs to them. But we are talking about the assets in the various localities. It's what we are saying, that we are taking them. And if you also liability, we have also taken it, because the two goes together.
We are here to present a document to the Vice Chancellor.
Presenting a letter to the management of KNUST to formally announce its presence on campus, the association said it will work harmoniously with the management at the various universities. For Joy News, Emmanuel Bright-Kweku reporting.
Well, the Health Minister, Kweku Agyeman-Menu, says the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, cannot be attained without peace. According to Honorable Agyeman-Menu, health for peace starts with providing fair and accountable governance and social support systems to the people. It's also about creating equal opportunities for decent livelihoods for all and ensuring adequate security of lives and property. The SDG is a global development policy framework and a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity and universal health coverage. Mr. Menu was pledging his support for the World Health Organization's Global Health for Peace initiative at the just ended 75th World Health Assembly held in Geneva, Switzerland.
Thank you. I now give the floor to the delegate of Ghana, and I invite the delegate of Luxembourg to come to the rostrum.
Madam President, Excellencies, colleague ministers, ambassadors and heads of delegation, conflict situations are characterized by dehumanizing and untold suffering leading to poor health status of the population. Wars and conflicts continue to leave immediate and life-changing physical and emotional scars with consequent negative effects, disruption of livelihoods, human development, and increasing infectious disease burden with its attendant high mortality and morbidity. The world in 2015 signed up to the Sustainable Development Goals, a global development policy framework, and a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity and universal health coverage. These goals cannot be attained where there is no peace. The endorsement of global leaders in September 2019 of the political declaration of the United Nations high-level meeting on universal health coverage shows that there is enough political ambition and commitment by governments to increase health spending, reduce out-of-pocket payment and inequities by strengthening health systems based on strong primary health care. We can harness the immense potential of the youth by equipping them with education and employable skills, leveraging on technology and public-private partnerships for job creation. This will help to reduce the burden of unemployment amongst the youth, which is a security threat. Health for peace starts with providing fair and accountable governance and social support systems to the people, creating equal opportunities for decent livelihoods for all, and ensuring adequate security of lives and property. Madam President, Ghana supports the theme for this year's Assembly, Peace for Health, Health for Peace, and welcomes the WHO's Global Health
Now, the Wa Circuit Court has granted bail to 3 suspects arrested in connection with the public flogging of 2 lovers in the Upper West region. The 3 include 70-year-old driver Na Isahaku Mahama, 62-year-old farmer Na Sidiki Osman, and 32-year-old mobile phone repairer Bushran Kidiri. 25 others who were arrested during Wednesday's face-off with the police have also been screened. 13 of them have also been granted bail in the sum of 3,000 Ghana cedis with 2 sureties. Joy News' Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
Calm has returned to Wa following yesterday's storming of the Wa police station by some Irish youth in the Wa municipality. The Irish youth were demanding the release of 3 suspects who were arrested in connection with the flogging of 2 lovebirds at the One House Palace. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The Irish youth, numbering over 400, mounted several roadblocks, pelted the police with stones, amid singing local war songs. Upper West Regional Commander of the Ghana Police Service, DCOP Peter Ndekuru, stated that the police responded by firing into the air several gunshots and tear gas toward them all.
And they were throwing stones, all sorts of missiles. But notwithstanding, the police managed to weather the storm and went all round to arrest about 18, 20 of them, and they are currently in our custody. They will be put before court this point.
Any casualties are recorded?
No casualty recorded, no injury. The only thing we recorded is that the damaging of public property, and that is the street lights, which they pulled one down and broke it into pieces. And that is of great concern to the people of this nation.
25 persons were arrested and no injuries on any of the sides. The 3 persons that were arrested in connection with the flogging of the 2 lovebirds were arraigned before the Wa Circuit Court. Their 70-year-old driver, Isaku Mahama, 62-year-old farmer, Sidiki Osman, and 32-year-old mobile phone repairer, Bushran Kidiri. Prosecuting Police Detective Sergeant Martin Dubache prayed on the court to keep the 3 accused persons in custody since they have not been able to arrest the prime suspect, whose name has been given as Degona Na Adam Seydou Pelepu, and that releasing them on bail could lead to interferences from some of the suspects who are at large. The presiding judge, Justice Jonathan Abu, refused to grant the wish of the prosecutor, arguing that since the 3 are not the persons who committed the act, there is no need keeping them in police custody. Apart from that, they have the name of the prime suspect and should use best policing methods to arrest him. In order not to further exacerbate the tension in the town, he granted the 3 accused persons bail in the sum of 3,000 Ghana cedis with 5 different sureties for each of the 3. He concluded, urging the accused persons to cooperate with the police for the latter to be able to finish their investigations on or before the adjourned court date of June 13, 2022. The 25 persons who were arrested in Wednesday's face-off with the police demanding the release of the 3 suspects were screened and properly profiled to 13. They were also granted bail by the court in the sum of 3,000 Ghana cedis and with 3 sureties. They are also to report to the police every other 2 days. Earlier in the day, the Upper West Regional Security Council, led by its chairman, Dr. Hafiz bin Sali, held an emergency meeting on the issue and later called on the Wall Overlord, Nafu Seydou Pelepu IV, at his palace. The meeting was closed to the media, but was believed to be centered on finding legal ways to calm the tension in the Wa Township. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wa.
Now, former UN Senior Governance Advisor, Professor Bafo Ajimandia, has expressed disappointment at the level of corruption in Ghana, especially among politicians. The controversy surrounding the will of the late former CEO of the Forestry Commission has got anti-corruption crusaders worried who blame it on the lack of political will to fight the canker. Professor Ajimandua, in a yet-to-be-aired interview on PM Personality Profile, told host Aisha Ibrahim that making the country's asset declaration regime regimental is one key way to check corruption among government appointees.
In the mechanisms that we have created to check, we are not serious in enforcing them. Typical example, declaration of assets. Who has been serious with that? The law itself is even nebulous. The law itself is ineffective. Yeah. I don't know who wrote the Constitution, what they had in mind. Or were they pretending they can check corruption by simply saying, declare your assets and go away. So that gives politicians the courage to acquire wealth with careless abandon, as we have just seen in recent days. Aisha, I think the problem is multifaceted. And if we are serious, we have to approach them that way. Those we can control, especially assets declaration, we should strengthen it to make sure those who who break it are penalized.
Now let's still stay on corruption, because private legal practitioner Martin Pegu is questioning the political will of government to equip state authorities with the responsibility of fighting corruption in the country. He alleges in an interview with Joy News that individuals in the public sector are making huge money through dubious means, hence will not support the cause to strengthen any fight against corruption. Mr. Pegu's reaction was on the failure of government to establish a board for the office of the special prosecutor 9 months after Kisi Jabing was appointed stalling prosecutions. He has, however, blamed the citizenry for failing to be vigilant and keeping the government in check.
This problem is one that we as citizens are also partly to blame for. That is to say, yes, even though government has not been quick to set up the board and not quick to give the special prosecutor funding, we were also caught napping. We all know that usually in this aspect, government will not fight corruption as much as we citizens would desire. I mean, it's a plain truth. Let's just say it as it is. Because people are making money in government, people are making millions of dollars. So they are not eager to strengthen the special prosecutor to come after them. It looks counterintuitive. So it is for us as citizens to be vigilant. I can't imagine that for 9 months we didn't see this. Mr. Kisi Jabin was earning a living as a private legal practitioner. I don't expect that he will be cozy with government. If your board is not being constituted, come out. Okay, so yes, I'm very excited that he's using the assets of Mr. John. But in the same breath, I'm not happy at all that he kept me whilst his board was not constituted. Please, we propose the public trust in him, and we expect that he should do it for us. Mr. Jabin, please do it for us. Don't look at the president. You see, the president has just 2.5 years to go. He will be gone. He's a very old man, right? And Mr. Jabin, you are still a very young man, and so we expect that he should be as vibrant as the time, be very vibrant.
Anti-corruption crusader Vitus Azim, who was also speaking on the same subject on the same show, says he is not surprised about the development because President Akufo-Addo lacks the temerity to fight corruption.
He has set up the Office of Special Prosecution and other institutions to part of this. You need to go beyond that and make sure that the president was able to work. My checks have shown that the president said, oh, I know the special prosecutor himself has come out to say this in public, that he does not have a board, and so it affects the work that he does. For example, if he needs to recruit certain categories of officers, he needs to get the board's approval. You need to ask them to replace those people. And even though he's doing something now, we're seeing, he's constraining how much he can do because he doesn't have enough personnel. The president has. I agree with Martin that at least we in civil society or citizens are not putting enough pressure on the president to do what he's expected to do. Some of us have talked about it on air, but we need the anti-corruption and other institutions to come out with press releases.
You're still watching Joy News today here on Joy News. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll bring you the latest in business.
Hello, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The Ghana Rice Interprofessional Body GRIP wants the government to consider buying from local farmers for its institutions. According to GRIP, this will be a huge boost for not just farmers but also government. Speaking at the launch of the National Rice Festival in Bontanga in the Kumbungo district of the Northern Region, President Nana J. Aye also appealed for reduction of fertilizer prices and access to tractors.
This year, we realized as an association that we can no longer depend on government to do everything for us. So we signed an agreement with a fertilizer company to supply us with fertilizer through the major season and the minor season. But here we are, Ukraine and Russia came up. These days, everybody blames everything on Ukraine and Russia. But I think government could have done better than what we are seeing now. As a government, I expected them to at least have a year or two storage of fertilizer for the farmers, because if agriculture is our backbone, why should we wait till the last end before buying fertilizer for farmers? We should have had some stocks somewhere waiting for farmers in case there is a disaster or something. We didn't do that. This is why the association wants to change the narrative. We want to take matters into our own hands. We are going to be approaching the financial institutions, approaching input dealers, so that we can do this thing on our own. We are also asking government. Government is the enabler of the economy. You can't do agric without government playing its role. This year has been a disappointment for us. We have to call a spade a spade.
Now, as part of MTN Ghana's corporate social responsibility, the MTN Foundation has launched its 2022 Bright Scholarship Scheme to support brilliant but needy Ghanaian students to complete their tertiary education. According to Chief Executive Officer of MTN Ghana, Selom Adadivo, the company is poised to support students in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics to aid Ghana's quest for a digital economy. He spoke to Joy Business at the launch of the scholarship.
The reloaded MTN Bright Scholarship seeks to ease the financial burden on students by catering for their cost of tuition, accommodation, and providing a stipend for books for the beneficiaries. According to the Chief Executive Officer for MTN Ghana, Selom Adadivo, the company will focus on STEM-related programs.
Yeah, no, the Bright Scholarship Reloaded has a specific focus on STEM for this round, and on the sciences, ICT, robotics are all part of the specific focus. And for people that are specially challenged, they would also have a focus on computers and ICT. So there's a general focus on the technology space, ICT and computers and robotics for this particular reloaded version. So we're expecting for the program overall 300, and it'll be 100 every year for the next 3 years, starting this year.
Deputy Minister for Education John Intim Fojo called for more partnership from the private sector to support such cause.
MTN Bright Scholarship Reloaded program, it's a very relevant one, a very important intervention that is going to be changing lives, that is going to be feeding ultimately into Ghana's socio-economic targets. And so we thank MTN for the vision, and we thank you most sincerely for investing into education, and we cherish the long-standing partnership we have with you, having benefited through many interventions. Our schools haven't benefited at your benevolence to be an inspiration, an example for other corporate leaders and players to do same.
The MTN Ghana Foundation will award 100 scholarships to students in public tertiary institutions across the country for the 2022-2023 academic year.
And that's all in business. The news continues after this break.
Let's do sports now on Joy News today. I am Muftau Nabila Abla. It is trophy number 25 for Kumasi Asante Kotoko in the Ghana Premier League, following their 1-1 stalemate against Ashanti Gold at the Obosi Lenkley Sports Stadium. Maximum Ajimon scored a towering header to draw Kotoko level after Yao Ano had given the Abuakese boys the lead. And the draw meant that Kumasi Asante Kotoko have won the Ghana Premier League. Head coach of the team, Dr. Prosper Nate Ogum, has been speaking about the success. He says they've been the best team since the commencement of the Premier League season.
Great, wonderful. First season with a greater number of players who are new players in the club. They've never tasted Premiership before, but then we have come, we have led, we have cared, we have inspired, and we have conquered.
Amazing stuff here. And when this game kicked off, I knew it, that another day, if you had 1 point from this place, you will become the league champions. But how nervous were your boys in the first starting moment of the game?
I think we didn't start well, and I saw it from our warm-up. They weren't their usual self when we are going in for a warm-up. They looked slow, and I think that actually affected us in the start of the game. Actually, it wasn't one of the best days at the office with respect to our performance today. The defensive line didn't look that organized. They looked slow. There were a lot of spaces between them, which wasn't the best.
3 more matches to play for, 9 points to fight for in the Ghana Premier League. So let's take a look at match day 22 of the Ghana Premier League, which starts on Saturday. It is Accra Lions versus Brecum Chelsea at the Accra Sports Stadium. And on Sunday, it is the Chima 11 Wonders who are fighting to survive relegation. They will come up against Legon City's Bechimi United versus Ediana Stars, Dreams FC versus Ashanti Gold, Bibiani Gold Stars versus Wafa, Great Olympics versus Asante Kotoko. Elmina Sharks, who are already relegated from the Ghana Premier League, they will come up against Midiama SC. Kaola United will play Real Tamale United and King Faisal. Another side that is fighting to maintain its status as a Ghana Premier League team will come up against former champions of the Ghana Premier League, Accra Hearts of Oak. Now let's talk about the Tracy Tennis Championship, and the 2022 edition has been won by Tracy Ampa. My colleague Asari Bidiakun has the rest of the story.
Tracy Ampa produced incredible tennis to defeat number 2 contender Laurentia Agogobia 6-3, 6-2 in the singles category. The 15-year-old, a student of Accra Girls Senior High School, is a member of the Ghana team which will compete in the Billie Jean King Cup in Macedonia. The 2022 edition of the Tennis Chick tournament saw over 65 young ladies participating in the event that came off at the Sakumono Tennis Club. Here is Ruweda Lamte, founder of Tennis Chick Club.
There are so many women that have played tennis for almost 10 years, 15 years, and nobody knows them. So this is to celebrate them and then unveil the faces behind the racket. Oh, yes, massive turnout. I mean, first and foremost, God did it for us. No rains, and the professionals are here. There are about 10 of them playing, and the social big numbers, like 23 pairs. So it's a very, very good, if you ask me, like 80% turnout here, and then the programs are doing so well.
This is how we wrap up sports here on Joy News today with me, Muftau Abla. The news continues right after this.
Welcome back. Now, before we bring you the world news, there's a latest statement coming from the Ghana Police Service about the planned armed demonstration by the Fix the Ghana movement. The police has secured a court injunction on this one. Now, the police in their statement are saying that they filed a motion on notice at the High Court to restrain the organizers from going ahead with their planned demonstration. The court, the organizers represented by Benjamin Dako, were duly served with a motion on notice, which application was heard today, June 3, 2022, at the Criminal High Court 4. After hearing of the application, the court granted an order to restrain the organizers, their agent, assigns, and whoever is claiming through them from embarking on the armed demonstration as had been intended. We would like to assure the public that the police service will not be an impediment in the way of any individual or groups in the exercise of their right to demonstration, as long as it is within the limit of the laws of the country. We will continue to enforce the law and ensure the safety and security of all persons in the country. And this statement is signed by Superintendent Juliana of being Head of Public Affairs Unit, so the Greater Accra region. So that's what they brought there. Now,
Time now for latest updates in Showbiz. My name is KMJ. Rapper Gulu has reviewed the reason behind his toning down on his hardcore rap recently, a skill he believes made him become a force to reckon with in the industry. Speaking in an interview, the rapper stated that he's a street rapper and street rappers don't care about anything or emotions.
Me, I started as the hardcore rapper, street rapper. The street rappers don't care about anything. They just give you the bars. Like for instance, you see, let me give a certain freestyle. You understand where I'm coming from. Even now, they try sound a little bit corporate.
Yeah.
Like, Bema mi fra crab bobra. Me di nina sushi bi. Nya kaso me de majwa. Mensu am ye fomu DB. Get away na no bagay ya sell long boot. Ope misika you know one cook. Me mami tie gratitude akokuno. Upe misika akokrebus. But everything will punch somebody.
Yeah.
So that made me pause the real rap a little. Because I realized when I open my mouth, the lyrical ability tears too much.
Yeah.
And it wasn't planned to insult. It was just a rap. Freestyle. Underground or street boy.
That's how you feel naturally.
Had access to a big act on a song. I just delivered. And this whole concept, it wasn't like somebody forced me to come out with certain lines. No.
And that's all for Showbiz this afternoon. My name is KMJ. For more news, log on to majoronline.com. Brace.
Thank you very much, KMJ. And that's how we wrap up our bulletin for you today. There's more news on majoronline.com. My name is Samuel Kojo. Brace. Up next is Marketplace. Good afternoon.